Okay, so till now we have discussed about Saussure's concept of sign and how every sign has two aspects. One is the signifier, which can be a sound or a written word, although Saussure mostly talks about sound as signifier. And the second aspect of sign is signified, which basically means the concept, the idea behind that particular word. Right? And then he goes on to say that signifier and signified, they are part of the sign. They are linked together. They are associated with each other, and they represent two aspects of the same thing. So they cannot be separated. This you must keep into mind that signifier and signified, they are linked with associated bonds. Means like they are two sides of a paper. You cannot visualize one without visualizing another. This is an important aspect which he talks about. Secondly, he says that a sign is arbitrary. This aspect can be seen in the contingent relationship between the signifier and the signified. Means the every name, every idea is arbitrarily fixed with the reality it represents. We can very well see it in the case of names given to people and villages and other physical realities. So a tree, the word tree, the sound tree which I'm pronouncing is signifier, while the concept of tree which arises in my mind when I pronounce this word is signified. This relationship, this connection between the signifier and the signified is arbitrary. Means there is nothing inherent in the sound tree to denote the concept of tree. This you must keep in mind because this is very important aspect. This arbitrary relationship between the signifier and the signified. Another thing which we have discussed till now is that for social, both the concept and the sound, they are psychological. They are not concrete realities, they are not physical realities. So when I talk about signifier tree, I'm not talking about the sound tree I'm making, but rather the imprint of that sound in my mind. Similarly, when I say signified tree, so I'm not talking about the concrete tree standing outside my house, but rather the imprint of that tree, psychological imprint of that tree in my mind. So you must understand that both signified and signifier are abstract entities. They are not concrete realities. This is another important aspect. And let us now move further and see what Saussure has to say about signifier and signified. Thus, for Saussure, the linguistic sign is wholly immaterial. It is abstract, as we were discussing in case of signifier and signified, that both signifier and signified are abstract. They are immaterial. They are not material reality. Since both signifier and signified are immaterial, so sign is immaterial. It is abstract. It's not concrete. The immateriality of the social sign is a feature which tends to be neglected in many people. So many people do not realize the, the import of this principle that both signifier and signified are abstract entities. They do not represent concrete realities. What social means is that words have no value in themselves. This is there is nothing inherent or given in a sign in itself. Words are meaningless until we fix them to certain other things. In themselves, words are meaningless. They are simply, chaotic sounds. They become meaningful only when that bond between signifier and signified gets constructed. So, in itself, words are nothing, they do not mean anything. For example, it is not the metal in a coin that fixes its value. For instance, we say this is 100 rupees note. Now, what is value of that 100 rupees in that note? It's simply a paper, right? It's a paper like other papers. But what makes a small piece of paper having its value as that of rupees 100? Or how can it purchase things equal to a certain value? Because there is some value given to it by declaration of a particular person or by our faith in the government, which makes that small piece of paper valuable. In itself, paper has nothing in it. It's the faith, it's our collective belief that this will give me certain things, that this piece of paper becomes valuable. Similarly, a coin, let us say a 5 rupees coin. What is 5 rupees about it? It's not the price of the metal which is of 5 rupees, but rather again the faith, the collective responsibility, the collectivity of people, the faith of people, which gives it a certain fixed value. So, several reasons could be offered for this. For instance, if linguistic science drew attention to their materiality, this would hinder their communicative transparency. So signs are not material, signs are not concrete, they are abstract. Because if they become concrete, then they would not remain flexible. And their communication strength would be curtailed, would be hampered. Furthermore, being immaterial, language is an extraordinary economical medium and words are always ready to hand. This immateriality gives a flexibility, gives a strength to words, to signs, and thus makes language an apt device for communication. Social noted that the choice of the term signifier and the signified help to indicate the distinction which separates each from the other. This is when I say that a sign has two aspects, one is signifier, another is signified. This is I'm making this distinction only to make the meaning or to make two aspects of sign more clear, more apparent. He never says that only signifier can exist without signified or only signified can exist without signifier. He says actually sign is a collective system. Sign is a collective entity. The distinction between signifier and signified is made only to make the idea more clear, or rather to make two aspects of sign more clear to people. Along with this, and the horizontal bar in the diagram of the sign, Saussure stressed that the signifier and the signified were as inseparable as the two sides of a piece of paper. As you cannot have only one side of a piece of paper, similarly, you cannot have only signifier or only signified. As a piece of paper would have two sides, it cannot exist. One side cannot exist. It's conceptually impossible to have only one side of a paper. Similarly, only signifier or only signified cannot exist alone. If you think about signifier, automatically leads to signified. Or if we think about signified, automatically another idea comes to our mind. They were intimately linked in the mind by an associative link. Each triggers the other. So one brings to the idea of another to the mind. Saussure presented these elements as wholly interdependent, neither pre-existing the other. So both signifier and the signified can exist together only. They cannot exist separately. They have to live with one another. Within the context of spoken language, a sign could not consist of sound without sense or of sense without sound. Signifier is not possible without signified, as a sound in itself is meaningless unless it get attached to some idea or it brings to the mind of the listeners certain ideas, certain concepts. Similarly, the only concept is meaningless until it is associated with some signifier. He used the two arrows in the diagram to suggest this integration. So the diagram in which the symbol of tree is there and the word tree is there, these two, symbol of tree and the sound of tree, they are associated with two arrows, up and down. The bar and the position nevertheless suggest that the signifier and the signified can be distinguished for analytical purposes. We have this distinction so that we can understand these two aspects of science system easily and separately. Social further argued that signs only make sense as part of a formal, generalized, and abstract system. Another, another important aspect. On the one hand, you cannot separate from the signifier from the signifier, right? On the other hand, a sign becomes meaningful only in its environment, only in its relation to other signs, right? So the meaning of sign is not only dependent upon a relation between signifier and signified, which is a kind of vertical relation, but also horizontally. A sign becomes meaningful only in relation to other signs, which are put before it and after it. So there are two relationships. One is vertical relationship between signifier and signified. Second is horizontal relationship, which is relationship of one sign with adjoining signs, with other signs which are placed before it or after it. So his conception of meaning was purely structural and relational than referential. These words are very important. Meaning is structural. Meaning is produced from the structure of a sentence or a word, and relational. Meaning is produced in relation to other words. Meaning of a word becomes visible to us only in relation to other words, adjoining words. It is not referential, it doesn't refer to anything. It doesn't mean anything in itself. Becomes meaningful only in relation to other signs. So it is relational. मीनिंग जो है शब्द का मीनिंग उसके आसपास के शब्दों के द्वारा प्रोड्यूस होता है, कंट्रास्ट में प्रोड्यूस होता है. जैसे मैंने आपको एग्जांपल दिया था कि ब्लैक ब्लैक इसलिए नहीं है क्योंकि उसकी अपने आप में उसके अंदर कुछ ब्लैकनेस है, बल्कि वो ब्लैक इसलिए है क्योंकि हम उसको दूसरे कलर्स के साथ कंट्रास्ट करते हैं. ये वाइट नहीं है, येलो नहीं है, रेड नहीं है, ग्रीन नहीं. इसी तरीके से मीनिंग्स जो हैं वो रिलेशनल है. मीनिंग्स हमेशा इन कंट्रास्ट और इन अपोजिशन प्रोड्यूस होते हैं, ना कि किसी शब्द के अंदर अपने आप में कोई मीनिंग. सो मीनिंग्स आर नॉट रेफरेंशियल, मीन्स दे डू नॉट रेफर टू एनीथिंग, but rather they are relational. They are produced, meanings are produced through relation with other signs. Primacy is given to relationship than to things. सो मीनिंग कहाँ से प्रोड्यूस हो रहे हैं? रिलेशनशिप से, संबंधों से. एक साइन का दूसरे साइन से क्या संबंध है, उससे मीनिंग प्रोड्यूस होते हैं, ना कि अपने आप में कोई मीनिंग होता है. द मीनिंग ऑफ साइंस इज सीन एज लाइंग इन their systematic relation to each other rather than deriving from any inherent feature of signifiers or any reference to material things. Meanings are neither produced because there is something within those signs or because it refers to some concept or some material reality. Meaning is produced because of a sign's relation with other signs. So language is in a way self-referential. It refers to nothing but itself. Right? There is no outside reality, and there is nothing concrete to which a word can refer to. Now these insights are very important because they directly led to the understandings which we received through post-structuralism, deconstruction, or postmodernism. That language is a complete system in itself. There is nothing outside language. Language is not a means of referencing to outside reality, but language in itself creates reality. It is a bound system. It is a self-enclosed system. Okay? For Saussure, sign refers primarily to each other. So meanings are produced by reference to each other, not to some outside reality. Within the language system, everything depends on relations. No sign makes sense on its own, but only in relation to other signs. The horizontal relationship we were talking about. That a sign becomes meaningful only in relation to other signs which are put around it. A word becomes meaningful because of the context in which it is placed. A word becomes meaningful only because of its contrast with other signs which are placed around it. Both signifier and signified are purely relational entities. This notion means that an individual word, such as tree, does have some meaning for us, but its meaning depends on its context in relation to other words with which it is used. So, for example, the word tree in itself doesn't mean anything. First thing, it has two aspects. One is word tree, sound tree, another is concept of tree. But again, the concept is nothing in itself. It becomes meaningful only when we contrast word tree with shrubs, with other realities around it. So the concept of tree comes to our mind by automatically contrasting it with other physical realities around it and negating it from them, negating it, separating it from them. Together with the vertical alignment of signifier and signified, a sign has two aspects. Upper side there is concept, lower side there is the sound. This is vertical relationship. Suggesting two structural levels, the emphasis on the relationship between signs defines what are in effect two planes. Other plane we have talked about is horizontal relationship. Relationship of one sign with other signs. Right? Socio refers to sound and thought as two distinct but correlated planes. We can envisage, see, the language as a series of adjoining subdivisions simultaneously imprinted both on the plane of vague, amorous thought, A, and on the equally featureless plane of sound, B. See the diagram. A. A stands for the concept. For instance, the concept of tree. It is abstract. It's psychological imprint. B is sound. Sound is also abstract because we are not talking about sound as I am producing, but rather the imprint of those sounds as a psychological imprint on my mind. So both A and B, they simultaneously move together. They are like waves. And there is a progression, there is a moment in time, and both are separate. They are two aspects, and both are abstract. The arbitrary division of two continua, which are continuous, into signs is suggested by the dotted lines, while the wavy edge of the two amorphous masses suggests the lack of any natural fit between them. So they are separated, they are like waves. The gulf and lack of fit between the two planes highlights their relative autonomy. So in a way, the sound, the concept, they are separate. Frederick Jameson suggests that it is not so much the individual word or sentence that stands for or reflects the individual object or event in the real world, but rather that the entire system of signs, the entire field of language, conceptual basis of language, lies parallel to reality itself, that it is the totality of systematic language, in other words, which is analogous to whatever organized structures exist in the world of reality. The ideas we were discussing earlier. That how can how much can you take language as a representation? Nowadays, and under structuralism and other analogous critical movements, we take language as creating reality in itself. That language is not simply a parallel, transparent uh, vehicle to view the world. Rather, it is the language itself which creates reality, which makes the world come to us. So he's talking about the same thing that there is no outside reality. First thing. Secondly, uh, language gives a reality, hmm? And that our understanding proceeds from one whole or gestalt to the other rather than on a one-to-one basis. So see the images I have made here on the page. First one is one sign. On the upper side there is signifier, on the lower side there is signifier. Then it is connected with other sign. Second sign also has two aspects, signifier, signified. Then it is connected with a third sign, which also has two aspects, signified and signified. So this is how different signs are placed in relation to one another. And this is how meaning is created by this interrelation between different signs. What Socio refers to as the value of a sign depends on its relation with other signs within the system. The value which can be equated to meaning depends upon one sign's relation with other signs. A sign has no absolute value independent of this context. In itself, separately, in vacuum, there is no meaning. One sign cannot have any meaning. If a language has only one word, that word is meaningless. Think of a language in which there is only one word. That word will represent everything in this universe. It will represent stars, it will represent dogs, it will represent street, it will represent stable, it will represent chair. So it has no meaning. Meaning is separation. Think of a language in which there are only two words. So half of the reality will be represented by one word, half of the reality will be represented by another word. So there are only two meanings, two things. One by one word, another by another word. Right? So we can see very easily how meanings they are created through separation, through oppositions rather, through oppositions. Hmm? For instance, you can think of ओके लेट मी गिवन अ वेरी कॉमन एग्जांपल हमारे यहाँ पर बर्फ का क्या मीनिंग होता है हम कहते हैं आसमान से जो गिरती है उसको क्या कहते हैं हिंदी में बर्फ कहते हैं हमारे फ्रिज में भी जो होती है उसको क्या कहते हैं हम हिंदी में बर्फ होती है तो हमारे लिए बर्फ जो है फ्रिज वाली भी बर्फ है और आसमान से गिरने वाली भी बर्फ है कि नहीं है लेट अस नाउ कम टू इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज वहाँ पर जो आसमान से गिरती है उसको हम स्नो कहते हैं और जो हमारे फ्रिज में होती है उसको हम आइस कहते हैं ठीक है तो अगर इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज ना हो हमारे पास फॉर इंस्टेंस तो हम बर्फ का मतलब एक चीज इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज के अंदर बर्फ की मतलब दो अलग अलग चीजें मतलब एक आइस और एक स्नो दोनों सेपरेट हो गई हैं जो रिव्यूज में रहते हैं या जहाँ पर 12 महीने बर्फ पड़ती है वो दे कैन डिफ्रेंशिएट बिटवीन 10 और 12 टाइप्स ऑफ स्नो वो अलग अलग टाइप की स्नो के लिए अलग अलग नाम हैं उनके मीनिंग अलग होती है राइट तो इंग्लिश में जो आइस है वो स्नो नहीं है जो स्नो है वो आइस नहीं है हिंदी में बर्फ है चाहे ये भी बर्फ है चाहे ये भी बर्फ है meanings are created through positions. So it is factually impossible to think of a language in which there is only one word. The more words are there, more concepts are there, more differentiation is there. Okay? So, Social uses an analogy with the game of chess, noting that the value of each piece depends on its position on the chessboard. If you are interested in chess, you must have seen that the value of a particular piece elephant or the king or the queen, it depends upon the place where it is placed. The sign is more than the sum of its parts. While signification, what is signified, clearly depends on relationship between the two parts of the sign, the value of a sign is determined by the relationship between the sign and other signs within the sign, within the system as well. So now there are two things. One is, you know, signification, which depends upon signifier and signified, relationship between them. Another is value. Value means how horizontally one sign is placed in opposition to other signs. So the interrelations between different signs determines the value, while the relationship between the signifier and the signified determines their signification, meaning gain. So two relationships which we are talking about in basic science. One is the vertical relationship between the signifier and the signified, which determines the meaning as you know it. Another is the horizontal relationship of one sign with other signs, which determines the value of the sign. Right? Both these two dimensions of relationships are necessary to give a full meaning to ourselves. Okay, that's all. And thank you.